Today we're going to draw a very large looking character that has a really big head because she's full of herself. Yes, I'm going to call her a she, and I'm going to call her Jayne. Hey, look, it has my first name in Jayne if you spell it wrong. She's got a little tiny body, but she's got massive arms and hands and little tiny feet. Notice how I'm drawing the feet behind where the hands are, and also notice that I'm trying to connect them like this. So again, if you think of a stick figure, middle of the head and a spine, that's your basic drawing. So, big circle. If you want to do the spine first, that's better probably. I didn't do it that way, but you can. And I'm going to draw little circles where the joints are. Maybe bring it down a little bit more here, or maybe even let's extend it a little bit so we can make sure to include both feet. So here's one foot over here, and there's one foot there. Maybe instead of coming straight down like this, we can come down to an elbow and then go up to the massive hands. So let's do that on both sides. Okay, so just to reiterate what's going on here, big head. I'm going to curve the squatty body here. Here's the spine, shoulders, or shoulder blades, or whatever that bone is that connects the rib cage area to the shoulders, elbows, and big hands. So remember, just like every other day, starting today, because we thought we were going to start yesterday, but we didn't, we're going to take a photo of this. And if you can, rather than putting your phone really close to your subject, bring it up and away and then zoom in. And you can take this either portrait or landscape, so rotate the phone so that you can get it as large as you can and take a photo of it. So there's the photo that I'm going to upload later. I'm going to crop it while I got it on the screen here. So I'm cropping it down to the square area around Jayne, even though I cut off the side over here. Not too concerned about that. And then I'm going to tap this little button right here with the 3 circles, and I'm going to select this one, which you can't really see it really well, but it beefed up all the lines and it shows me all of the shapes. Now that kind of looks like a mess, right? But I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to upload it while I'm thinking about it. I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and I know this is kind of weird, I'm using my document camera to record something, and I'm going to call this Jayne. And then I'm going to put an underscore and just put DD for Daily Doodle. Notice how I have my one of my personal email addresses here. I'm going to tap that and make sure to use my jwing2@sandy.net. I've got art, the process of, and then I've got a folder called Daily Doodle. I'm going to select this one and I'm going to save it. Then I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to add the features. So Jayne has 3 horns on the top of her head like a triceratops. One big one in the middle and two smaller ones on either side. Once again, I'm going to put her eyes really low and far apart. And I'm going to give her a really big smile, because she's a happy camper. Any of you guys go camping this summer? I didn't do any camping, but I did do some traveling. Uh-oh, just ran out of lead in my pencil. Oh, there's more! Oh, yay! There's a little piece of lead left over. So I'm going to start fleshing in the areas in here. Since the arm is in front, I'm going to start right here with the shoulder. I'm going to come straight down like this. And then I'm going to put these huge hands like this, almost like boxing gloves. And this lead isn't working very well either. Oh man, losing lead. I'm unleaded. Hey, there's a joke. Let's find another pen. That reminds me of another joke. I was having dinner at a Chinese restaurant a couple of years ago, and at the end of the meal I got my fortune cookie, and when I opened it up there was nothing inside, and so I said, "Oh, that was unfortunate." So that's kind of where dad jokes get developed. That's how they work in my life. So I'm going to do smile like this. And what did I say? Unleaded? I'll have to remember that. Notice how I've got notes on here. As things occur to you, like maybe making up names and storylines, you can write them on. This is like a piece of scratch paper. Yes, we're going to continue to do the inking and so forth, and of course we're going to finish these drawings up, but I want you to take photos and also take little notes as you're going. So here's her mouth. I'm going to bring it up to right where the side of her eye is, and then this big horn is in front of this part of her head. So I'm just going to bring this down and bring it around to her foot. Really simplified foot. And then here's her belly. So you're not going to see a whole lot of her stomach in here. Imagine again where the shoulder is here. And bring this hand down like this. There's a thumb. And then you can draw 2 little lines like this to make it look like a fist. Then I'm going to bring this arm up over here and her stomach around like this. So again, a lot of this character's features are hidden, but you can still see a lot of them also. So one of the things that I would probably do with this particular character, as well as the other ones, is since I have the bone structure in here, the skeletal structure, with the spine, the shoulders, the elbows, etc. If I wanted to change the position of this character, all I would do is draw a stick figure. Got to take a picture. All I would have to do is draw a stick figure of the character in a different position. And if you haven't done this already, we're going to do pretty much the same process for all of these. We're going to start putting these characters into positions. So again, I've taken a photo of it. I'm going to crop it. This is picture number 2, even though I started doing the 3rd step of this with regards to the character itself. I started darkening it in before I got to the next step. But you'll notice also on here that the lost my train of thought. You notice also on here that there's going to be different things on here, like the word unleaded. So again, you can start to see what my thinking is as I draw and where perhaps cartoons come from. And this one's going to be Jayne _ DD for Daily Doodle. And I'm going to just call this B because it's the second one in the series. So now I'm going to continue to beef this up, except that I'm out of lead on that one. Still unleaded. And yes, one of the things that indicate whether or not you are a cartoonist is cartooning isn't just drawing. And whereas there are a lot of cartoonists that work with partners, if you have a combination of humor, even if you think you're funny and no one else does, which, trust me, after you do enough puns that you're going to start getting those loud groans from time to time, it's just inevitable. But if you possess a sense of humor and can draw cartoons, you are definitely a cartoonist. Not sure about the thumbs yet on this. I may have to draw this. I also know notice I made a mistake here. This should have gone straight back here because the elbows are bent, remember? So I will say this over and over and over again. Please do not erase your mistakes. Instead, just continue on as if they didn't happen. So I'm not going to erase this line right here because that's a mistake that I can fix when I ink it later. And I'll show the process of inking in another video. You've already seen it from other drawings. These two guys right here, Bob and Steve. But here's the other curious thing I want you to start thinking about. You probably do this naturally, but what I want you to do is force yourself to think about, as you're drawing, what sort of scenario can you put these characters into that might cause for some interesting dialogue? Meaning, let's assume, just for a moment, that they're at the beach, because these two people are at the beach. Let's put this person at the beach too. And I'm going to change the horizon line again up here. And I'm doing this on purpose. First of all, the purpose of the horizon line shows, like in the background back here, if you want to put the sun in again here. I didn't put the sun in there, but look, there's a penny. Maybe the penny can be a sun. But as you put them in scenarios, and secondly, as you're developing the characters, start thinking about their personalities. So for instance, in this particular case, who I'm calling Jayne here is a female character. What characteristics might she possess? Is she a gentle giant? Is she really a tiny girl trapped in a monster's body, or is she a monster trapped in a little girl's body? Again, these are just little considerations as you're developing your characters and developing your stories. There's a very famous book back in the 50s that most cartoonists have called Characters Make Your Story. I'm going to take a picture of this before I forget. So in the book, the author basically says, if you create a series of characters and you put them into a scene or a scenario or an incident, they will react. If you define the character of the individuals, or the players if you will, if you define the characters of them, and again I'm tapping this little 3 thing and tapping this one because it beefs it up, and I'm going to save that and upload it. If you define the characters, they will act predictably in a situation. So the other thing you'll notice as I name this is that I'm using what's called a file naming convention. I start off with the character's name, I put an underscore, and then I put DD, which is short for Daily Doodle, and then I labeled this one as C because this is the 3rd in a series. Since I've already saved to the Daily Doodles folder in here, each subsequent time after I do the first one is automatically going to put it in that folder, so that's kind of nice to have it like that. So again, I'm going to ink this later, but for now this is the Daily Doodle for today.